This is He Knows Everything, bringing you that heat fire. Let's talk about it, man. Leonard Ellerbe is hilarious. He sat there and he talked about how, first and foremost, Canelo Alvarez's loss was to Floyd Mayweather. That's who whooped his ass. He was very clear about that. He didn't sugarcoat that. He made that very evident that that's exactly what happened. Salute to Leonard Ellerbe for that. But let's go forward. Let's fast forward. Leonard Ellerbe basically brags and he basically talks trash about how Floyd Mayweather is basically the epitome of boxing. And how Floyd Mayweather in the exhibition did more than Canelo Alvarez. It's reported that he did supposedly 800K pay-per-view buys. Floyd did 1 million in an exhibition bout. He's still the pay-per-view king, cash cow king. This is how we know this to be true. Canelo Alvarez had to jump over to the PBC side. Leonard Ellerbe was talking a lot of trash. It went over a lot of boxing fans' heads because they're thinking he's giving Canelo credit. He's not. He's actually saying the only reason why you, Eddie Reynoso, and your team are doing hellified numbers is because you brought your ass over to PBC. And he alluded to that. And he said it blatantly. He showed up to PBC, Showtime Sports, and now he's doing pay-per-view. So that's why he's making money. We knew that this was the reason why he made money in the last fight. I alluded to it. I said it's because boxing community fan bases, they want to spit on PBC, they want to spit on Al Heyman, they want to spit on Floyd Mayweather, they want to spit on the Leonard Ellerbes of the world, they want to spit on Sam Watson. But this is what you guys have to understand. These guys have cornered the market for boxing. So if fighters want to make money, they want to have financial independence, they want to be independent contractors, if they're thinking with brain cells, they're not lacking neuron receptors. If the neuron receptors are clicking on all cylinders, if they are basically in what we would say a equilibrium state where things are balanced out, then they would understand that this is ideally what you want to do. You want to be on PBC. You want to be Premier Boxing Champions. That's why I laugh at these YouTubers that clown PBC. But look at Canelo. He just went over to PBC. What do they have to say about that? It's the things that make you say, It's the things that make you say, They don't have nothing to say about that. And you want to know why? Because why would they talk good about Al Heyman? They're only talking good about Canelo. Why would they talk good about Floyd, who, by the way, owns 50% of PBC, and he's collecting a check off of Canelo? Not only did Floyd Mayweather beat Canelo in the ring, he beat him outside of the ring, and he's collecting a check on top of that. And basically, he's making more money than Canelo is because he's Canelo's boss. So if Canelo walks out with 40, 50 million, what do you think Floyd Mayweather's walking out with? See, these are the questions that you guys don't ask. But we're going to ask these questions because we understand things for what they are. When it's all said and done, Canelo had to make that move. The Zone is a failed app. The Zone is a failed project. The Zone has failed on so many levels when it comes to boxing. You wanted to know if Canelo was a cash cow? If he would have been able to take The Zone and turn it completely around, then we would have seen cash cow status. He couldn't even fucking do that. So we're going to sit here and give him credit. He had to bring his rabbit ass over to Floyd to make money. Basically, he had to rub the magic that Floyd has so that he can basically create success again. Canelo Alvarez's career is like Captain America. Everything good about him came out of a fucking, what we would say, an experiment. Everything about him came out of a glass jar lab. Nothing about him is special. Now, Canelo doesn't have the heart that Captain America has. He doesn't have the indomitable will that Captain America has. He doesn't have the ability that Captain America has in terms of wanting to take on any and every motherfucker. So those are the delineations, the distinctions, the gulf, and the separation that's associated between the both of them. But I'm talking about the serum. I'm talking about what makes him special in terms of superhuman ability and things of that nature. Canelo reminds me of that very much so, because Canelo has not gotten over the hump. Boxing fans don't want to admit this, but we're going to admit this. We're going to tell the truth. Canelo had to bring his rabbit ass over to PBC so that Canelo could be where he's at right now. And now he's ducking. He's trying to go all the way up the chain. This is what we call advanced level ducking, fighting a cruiserweight. Boxing fan bases didn't ask for this shit. We're asking for David Benavidez. We're asking for Jamal Charlo. Let me tell you what he's doing and why it's called an advanced level ducking. He fights somebody at that high weight and he beats that person, which he will, because he's always on pay to lose status. He's always on nosedive status with these fighters. Once he does that, boxing community fan bases are going to say, well, he beat a cruiserweight. So who the fuck is Charlo? He beat a cruiserweight. Who the fuck is Benavidez? I'm telling you. I'm letting you know what's going to happen before it fucking happens. That's why Canelo does this shit. He's very cerebral when it comes to basically finding ways to get out of precarious situations. Finding ways to get out of hard fights. He told you out of his own mouth that David Benavidez and Jamal Charlo was going to take 2 more years for him to be ready for that fight. Is he saying that about the cruiserweight? He's fighting a guy that he knows that he can steal that belt from. They've already signed in the clause in the contract that belt is coming to him. What it's going to do is going to give him some prestige because it's going to look like he jumped all the way up to cruiserweight, beat somebody up, and now he's going to be this guy that supposedly have all of these belts in all of these different weight classes. And the message is going to send to boxing fan bases, i.e. Cinnamon Toast Crunch fanboys. Oh, Cinnamon Toast Crunch can't be beat. Look what he did. He went all the way up to cruiserweight. So we don't want to fucking see Jamal Charlo. We don't want to see David Benavidez. That shit ain't right. If I was PBC, I would find a way to clause his ass. But because PBC's making so much money off of him and he's on that side of the aisle, to be honest with you, they don't give a flying fuck as long as those checks are green. At the end of the day, Al Heyman is a shrewd businessman and he's about them dollars. And he's not going to let fan bases, even though they're going to hold his feet to the fire, stop Canelo from doing this as long as that check clears and that motherfucker is going to make bank off of his ass. Canelo is basically PBC's bitch. They gonna pimp his ass. They gonna let him do all this bullshit and fuck shit that he normally does. But they gonna make sure they get that check off of his ass. That's the cold-hearted. That's the unadulterated. That's the cutthroat true teller fashion. I keeps the foot on the whoop on the Hicks. I keeps the foot on the whoop on the Hicks. This is He Knows Everything. Check it out.